Go ahead, sir. You're on. You're live.
We are on. Jeez. Okay. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of The Bottom Line. We have got a special treat for you tonight, but I just want to preface that by saying this right off the bat. Rather than bring this guy on and ask him the same old questions that he's heard 5,000 times in the last week, we decided we're going to bring him on and talk about everything but what you think we're going to talk about. So I don't know, my executive producer, is our guest here yet? If not, we can. He
Our
is
guest
here.
has arrived.
Our guest has arrived.
Yeah.
Okay, so without further ado, we would like to everybody to give a warm welcome to none other than Coach Becht.
There he is.
Hey, Coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the Offensive Rookie of the Year, Rocco Becht's dad.
Very true. Very true. I get that a lot these days.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, you've earned it. I mean, what a great kid. I'm an Iowa State grad, and Iowa State people stick together. And so I told these guys, I said, I hope in the amount of time that we have, you guys, if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, you'll give me 14 or 19 minutes just to talk to Coach Becht about Rocco. So I hope these guys can keep their mouths shut long enough so you and I can have a conversation.
Good luck. It looks like we got 4 or 5 people here. So
I'm still pretty piped in, at least a little bit. As I get older, I lose my connections. But one of the first questions I wanted to ask you, because the people that I've talked to down there, they all say the same thing. Rocco's a great kid. So as a dad, I appreciate hearing that, and I know you do too, and I think you probably believe that too, because he really is a good kid. But one of the questions that they wanted asked was, there's a rumor that Rocco took care of his linemen over Christmas, and they want to know whose idea was that? Was that Rocco's? Was that yours? Was that Mom's? Whose was it?
That was Rocco's. Yeah, he gets it. He understands the reasons why he had success this year outside of the preparation that he put in for the season. His offensive linemen, receivers did a hell of a job this year for him. And listen, it's a fitting reward, and it's nice, when in this NIL age, and in particular quarterbacks, they have special privileges now where they have access to things that I never had, and players in the past. So he took care of his guys with some winter gear, some jackets, some hoodies, and I think a beanie. And I'm sure those things will get better as years go on. So hopefully, I would say, I don't know if it's a golf cart status, but you never know in this day and age. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to know, Coach, it wasn't golf carts. I just want to make sure, because that was a Kansas City thing. I didn't know if he was going to go that far with it, but
no doubt.
Another question we talked about, when you have a talented kid like Rocco, coming out of high school, I believe he was recruited by Alabama, Texas A&M. What's it like, having a kid with his ability and going through that recruiting process, and then coming to the point where, I think you guys made a great decision in Matt Campbell and Iowa State, but how do you get to that point? What's that like from your perspective?
Yeah, there's a little fuzz in the audio. Hopefully it's not me, but listen, I think we had a checklist. First, number one, what's the roster? I mean, what's the opportunity there at that school? Number two, what's the coaching staff? The coordinators, the rest of the staff. What's the retention? What has that been? And quite frankly, that was probably the biggest concern, because Matt Campbell was a coach that had various opportunities over the last 4 or 5 years, and the fact that he showed his loyalty to the school. I mean, that's always important. I mean, we picked Iowa State. It's a great university, great campus, but clearly you pick these schools that for their coaching staffs and the people you build relationships with, and And Coach Campbell and Joel Gordon, the quarterback coach at the time, who's no longer there. He's with Golish at USF. But those guys obviously saw something in him way back, and Rocco's pretty good. It's about relationships in this thing, and the schools early on that kind of saw something in them versus maybe some of the schools later. They had a little bit of an advantage. And then, of course, the system. What are they running? I mean, is it air raid? Is it a little bit more pro style? Will he have variety of things to do at the position, which he does? So, I think those are the key things. And then from there, you got to go do it. I mean, you're not guaranteed anything. You get your scholarship. All that stuff's great. But, 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, continuing recruiting of other players that come in after you. And when you're there, nothing's guaranteed. So he put the work in, and he's off to a great start. So now it's up to him, which, I have a lot of confidence in. He'll continue to get better and push the envelope and just, improve his game on and off the field, and just really proud of what he's done.
I watched, obviously, being an Iowa State fan and going to that university, as a coach, give me your evaluation of Rocco from a coaching standpoint, not a dad, on the field.
Yeah. Well, I think number one, it starts with his preparation. He has a plan Sunday through Friday to prepare him for the game. Games are win and lost during the week. Something we do, and we do as a Battlehawk staff and for our players. Game day, you should have the answers to the test, or most of them. And I think the ways you can find or point signs to see if you have those answers are, pre-snap read, is he getting the ball out of his hands? Is he seeing the concepts, or is he watching the defense? Does he see what he has? His ball's coming out on time. And I think for the most part, if you watch him play, there's not a lot of extended plays. I mean, clearly he makes plays with his legs and keeps his eyes downfield, but he sees what he wants. He sees the coverage. He knows what the concepts are supposed to be. He trusts in that, and he always has a backup plan if things don't work. So I think that's the core there. That's where it starts. And I think he's really elevated himself at a young age to understand that. Now, what comes with that is, how you build upon that. And that weekly process is, he's going to make it his own. He's going to, learn more things. He's going to study more things. He'll add, I even told him in the offseason, go study an offense and defenses of 2 NFL teams, places that have similar systems or similar type of styles, and see what they're seeing. How our defense is differing. How can you advance yourself mentally to just really give you an advantage on the field? Because he's got that. I guess you got to have that it factor. You got to have that ability to not get shook when things go wrong. And I think
right.
He had a couple pick sixes this year, and I think every single one of them, the next drive, I believe, were either scores or almost scores going down the field. So those are the things you either have it or you don't. I mean, there's no secret to that. You got to be mentally strong in those moments, and he's shown that. So he's just got to continue to grow on it and trust in yourself.
That's the same thing. As I watched every game and seeing him progress, we kind of watched him as Iowa State fans grow up before our eyes. To be honest with you, at the start of the season when all the gambling thing was happening and stuff like that, we weren't sure. Most of us thought it was J.J. Cole. I mean, not knowing, not being at practice, things like that. And when the decision was made to bring Rocco forward, we're like, well, all right, let's see what the kid's got. Early on, you can obviously see they were trying to get their feet. They were trying to, figure out, I make the comment, to Ed, because he's a big Hawkeye fan. Don't hold that against him, Coach. But if we played Iowa later in the season, I think we stomp them, because Rocco's grasp, I mean, you could tell at the end of the year, I mean, he had grown so much. And so those couple of games, the Iowa game and the Ohio game where things didn't go so well for us, he really turned that around against Oklahoma State and Kansas State in the snowball fight, So that, as a Cyclone fan, that makes me really excited. But I will tell you this, I'm going to read you some stats. So there's a lot of pressure on Rocco here. I'll give you Rocco's stats, and then I'll give you a stat of another quarterback.
Okay.
Rocco threw for 3,120 yards this year for an 8.5 average, 23 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing, 8 interceptions at a 62% clip. This other quarterback, I'm not going to give him his name right now. His first year, he threw for 2,250 yards, 21 total touchdowns, 7 interceptions at a 60% clip. Now, that other quarterback is Brock Purdy. So you can see the excitement with a lot of Cyclone fans when they see Rocco come in and make the strides that he did. I mean, I hate to say this, but I would almost compare it to a Jordan Love. Maybe not, feeling his way out right away, but then really coming toward the end and looking like that dude, looking like that guy. So, some of the other things, he set a bowl record this year with 446 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks, for Iowa State. That's not just freshman, that's everything. And I looked at some of his stats, and if you actually peel through them, he gets better in the second half, and I love that. That really shows a lot.
Well, again, a couple things there. Clearly with his off season and the competition and all that stuff. I mean, honestly, it really doesn't matter, and it shouldn't, because you got to take care of business on your own. You got to go through your process. The competition, he'll always rise up to that. That was never a question. Whether and there'll be another 5-star or 4-star. Somebody will always come in and he'll treat it the same way, and that's the mentality you want to have. There is growth. I think in football in general, I think everybody just wants this instantaneous greatness of players, especially at the quarterback position. I think it's something to be said about getting 13 games under your belt, improving every week as a redshirt freshman, and just the growth that can be there. And the 21 starters back next year. I mean, that's not pressure. That's excitement, I think. And that's how he looks at it. And, he's already, he's back in the lab. He's training. He's working like all the guys. And, he's going to get himself ready to go. And, who wants to be better? I mean, not just for the sake of what Brock did, but he's building his own legacy and his own journey. And that's where his mind and focus is. And he wants to win. He wants to 12 teams get in to the show next year, right? He wants to be in there, man. So, a lot of teams or people may be sleeping on him, but at some point, he's going to find a way, and maybe 4 years from now, we'll be talking something bigger, which is everybody's goal there. So I'm excited, and I know he is as well.
So thanks, Coach, for a great kid. He is a great kid. Thanks, Coach.
Now let's get into today's college football. Now that Eric has set the stage that Rocco's all that, let's talk about the college transfer portal. Being a fellow Iowa Hawkeye fan, and the fact that we didn't even have a quarterback this last year, how does that process work for a transfer portal? I mean, you see so many college kids entering the college portal. There's dates? Does Rocco get emails every day from other colleges? How does the whole transfer portal thing work?
Yeah, I think the portal is a great tool for players for different reasons. But, listen, if your coach leaves, obviously you should have the option to move or do something or evaluate the new staff and then get that chance, which you do. So there's a window there for a 30-day window for players with new coaches coming in who didn't recruit them to feel out that process, number one. Also, if you graduate and you knock out your scholastic side, you get an option to do that as well. And that's great for players at smaller level schools or maybe quarterbacks that, again, just, have improved themselves on smaller teams, that they put the time in on the academic side to really give themselves a chance to play at a higher level and get the opportunity. And then you got guys that, unfortunately just don't want competition. They don't, they're not maybe confident enough in the situation that they're in. And then there's another group of guys that are, again, there's money to be found and collected and chased. And there's always schools that are going to be, if you're a good player, people are going to try to contact you to see if you want to, come here, do that for this much. We got this amount, whatever it is. And So there's a lot of different reasons to go in or look at the portal. I mean, I think we only see one side. It's always about, money grab and all this stuff, but there is a positive spin to the portal, but it just gets out of hand because of the fact that there's no structure. The NCAA wasn't very proactive in the whole process, and now it's kind of a free agency product that players really control. Where in any other sport or anything else, they don't. There's restrictions and things that to control that. So will it change? I don't know how it will change. I'm not sure, but if you got a good spot, Iowa State, obviously, and just in Rocco's terms, they're investing in him. They believe in him. They're investing in the players that have actually achieved something on the field, that have earned it. And I think that only get bigger and better. And, who knows? I mean, listen, he loves it there. That's all that matters. And they got a really good team. I think, there's a lot of success to be gathered when you have something like that. And that's sometimes, depending on what you're looking for in life and the experience. I mean, you want to go play on a good team. And if you can help build something and make it strong, I think there's something to be said about that.
What
Okay,
does that mean for you, sir? What does that mean for you as, being his dad, you seeing him having this success at Iowa State, and you're looking at him like, I'm so, like, what are the emotions like? Because I know it may have been a scary time, it may have been scary for you, it may be an exciting time. What have you been feeling over the course of his time so far at Iowa State?
Well, obviously when he started playing, there's a lot of stress and angst. Me and my wife, we want him to do well. We want him to
Yeah.
have success. The quarterback position is the hardest position to play and be consistently good at. And I've never been nervous as a player or a coach, so it is a different emotion for me. And again, I think he lessened that sense of angst because of his demeanor and the way he goes about his business. And he actually draws confidence in me as I watch him. I start to gain it. Like, he knows what he's doing. He has a plan. He doesn't look confused. And those things obviously, show a lot of positive gains on what he's doing. I think the biggest thing is when he gets hit or, some quarterback design runs, which I'm always like, why are we doing that? But yeah, I just want him to get up. Just get up. I mean, listen, that sweat kid from Texas, D tackle. He's not a small guy. So when he's breathing down your neck and your linemen are talking shit per se throughout the week and calling him out, you worry about that stuff. But he handled it well. And those guys, it's all competition, but it's fun. But yeah, I mean, you just get up. Okay, he's up. We're good. So that's kind of the feeling we have.
So we promised that we wouldn't keep you on here forever, but I want to turn the focus real quick because I want you to know you're going to be our guest picker this week for the NFL playoffs. Okay.
All right.
So we'll do it real quick here. Just get your thought quick on each one of the games and who you're picking. Let's start off with Texans at Baltimore.
Yeah, look, Baltimore clearly has the edge here. I think the Texans will keep it close. I really do. I want to say they're 9 or 10 point favorites. The Ravens are, which is a remarkable number. I get it. They've really beat up on some really good teams throughout the year, but sometimes you get a bye. They also sat their starters the last game of the season. You're a little sluggish. I mean, Texans have a lot of confidence right now. A young quarterback, a defense that's flying around, a coach that's got them going in the right direction. They're a dangerous team, and I think they keep the game close. I believe the Ravens will win.
Okay, so then next we've got Green Bay at San Francisco.
Again, another game. I think it's a big number, double digits. Listen, it's going to be tough to go to San Francisco and win the game. I don't know if Green Bay can do it, but I do believe Green Bay will make it hard. I don't think it'll be a game where just 49ers blow them out. I think if any team could probably do any type of double-digit win, it's them because they're so clean, they're so solid. They're the opposite when they're given time and they're at home. They just, Kyle Shanahan's offense is just smooth and he does it the right way. And Brock has been phenomenal and phenomenally sharp running that system. So again, I got 49ers at home. I think that falls in again. I think a little closer maybe than the experts think.
Okay. Tampa Bay going into Detroit.
Yeah. Well, obviously living down in Tampa Bay, you see a lot of the Bucks. again, I think going in that environment on the road is tough. But I will say Todd Bowles knows how to win. He knows how to coach a team. He's been there, done that. He's got experienced players on his defense. I don't know if anybody's been playing defense better than the Bucks right now. Baker Mayfield's the ultimate chip on your shoulder type player. But for me, I just think Detroit finds a way to win the game. But I think it's close. I don't see them winning by 6 or 7 points in this game. So again, playoff time, it gets crazy. But man, the environment's going to be really, really challenging. We always talk about playing in our place when teams come in. Like you got to handle that first quarter, right? The emotions and all the hoopla. So I think the Bucks will do that, and if they can keep it tight after the first quarter, I think you'll have a football game, right? The emotions and all the.
Okay, so that brings us to the final game, and probably most of our fans listening tonight have probably got the most interest in this game. Can Kansas City go to Buffalo? Something they've not had to do for years is going on the road. Can they go to Buffalo and win that game?
Yeah, listen, just watch. Chiefs are always on national TV pretty much across the country every week. You see a lot of their games on prime time. There's clearly some issues there offensively. I think there's some trust factor in the weapons. I think Patrick Mahomes has not looked comfortable or in phase at really any game of the season, even the win they had against the Dolphins. I don't know if I trust them to just show up and get it done. Plus, they're on the road. Really, their only go-to weapon to me is Pacheco, and he really, I don't know if he can do it on his own in this game. So, with that being said, I think Josh Allen and the Bills finally take that step and get back to the AFC Championship game, and I think they take that win on our home field and get the victory.
Wow.
So who do you see then? If we turn fast forward to the Super Bowl, who do you see as your matchup?
I'm gonna go with the Ravens versus the 49ers. I think a lot of people have kind of called that out, and that the whole conspiracy theory with the colors and the Super Bowl emblem and all that stuff. I mean, like they are the two best teams. It gets incredibly difficult, I think, as the years go on in the NFL because there's a little more parity, in my opinion, than there were back in the day, where you just felt dominant teams every single year, like the Patriots and teams of that nature, and the Chiefs when they were loaded up with weapons. So I'm going to stick with that Ravens 49ers championship game, and I think it'll be a good one. A little bit of a rematch. I mean, we saw it already, and it was ugly, but I think that second time around, you'll see a different team show up.
So one last question, and we'll let you go. And we appreciate you taking some time for us tonight. What do you? Sounds like A Train maybe has a question for you too.
Yeah, but I got 2 questions. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you're heavily involved in the Jets organization, and obviously this year didn't go like they'd hoped with the whole Aaron Rodgers injury and whatnot. What's the pulse of the New York Jets fan base right now? Are they still engaged? Are they still ready for Aaron Rodgers 2.0? Or how do you read that whole situation?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate season, obviously. I mean, nobody expected that. And I think the fan base, obviously, with no Aaron Rodgers, maybe had a little bit higher expectation for this team, being that, you see a team like the Browns or some of these other teams are able to kind of still manage a productive year without their key players. I do think that, even though there was a lot of angst with the fans, they are excited about it. They just want to see it happen. They want that luck to be on their side. It seems like there's always a disaster with some injury. Breece Hall goes down, all different guy, AVT, several players just, end up getting banged up and it just kind of wrecks their season. So they got to fix their offensive line. They're going to sprinkle in a weapon. They're going to have a good draft choice. So Aaron comes back healthy and he can survive the season. It is exciting. So, I'm willing to wait and see. I think there is excitement around it. And again, I like to see it. I want to see what it looks like with Aaron Rodgers leading the team.
A-Train, did you?
He gave he answered all my questions. Like for real. Oh, this is for him up there. Do you ever see Rocco ever going to Iowa? Because he's an Iowa guy above me.
Well,
You know, I do.
Go pull that.
Never say never, right?
If I see a $10 million check all up front in cash, we'll think about that. How about that?
I tell you what, after having to live through the final 2 or 3 games where we'd have been better off not having a quarterback.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and they played. I mean, the record that they had. I mean, Phil Parker did a hell of a job. That's for sure.
Those were team wins, weren't they?
No
So
question.
I do have one last question for you, because as I watched a lot of the Iowa State games, and of course so did my other guy down there. Undoubtedly, the camera's on you several times a game. As a parent, you're going to the game to watch your son play football. Was you given that latitude as a parent to actually sit and watch the game? Did the fans give you that leeway, or was you constantly being bothered during the games?
I mean, listen, I'm not hard to hide. I mean that's one thing. I mean, I'm a big guy. People recognize me. You're in the parents, family sections, and fans. I mean, they're going to say what they're saying. I mean, I was able to kind of hide a few games where I wasn't found, so me and my wife, weren't pulled on TV. But listen, unfortunately, guys, I got a lot of relationships in the media business, ESPN, Fox. I know all these guys. They text me like, "Hey, where are you sitting?" I'll be somewhere over here, and then I make them find me. But again, I stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, it's hard for me to hide. So, but this is what it is. My first real experience in the stands. Not coaching or being in a box in high school, all those different levels with Rocco. So I know my wife's had to sit through the stands and hear all those things. High school, you'd think it wouldn't be as terrible, but it is. And again, I think a lot of people, when they say something, somebody behind them points like this and says, "Oh, I hear them whisper, that's as bad." And then all of a sudden, you start hearing positive talk, because they see this, maybe the size of me, and I'm going to do something, but I'm not. I mean, it's not going to happen. So, but relatively speaking, it's been okay.
I will honestly tell you that never happens in Iowa City. Never happens in Iowa City.
Get real.
So
I've heard from our fan base going to the games and traveling when they go there that they're the meanest fans they've ever been around. Now, clearly, it's probably because of that picking that side within the border of the state. But I heard they find that family section and they just go to town on them, man. In Kinnick Stadium.
I don't believe that. You can't have something as pure as waving to the Children's Hospital and then try and sell me on something like that.
You guys always throw that out there. Make you guys seem really kind and nice. I mean, who isn't going to stand up and wave to those great kids in that building? I mean, everybody's going to do it. That doesn't mean you're a good person, So,
Coach, don't rain on my parade. Come on.
Hey,
my goal leaving tonight was that I had one glimmer of hope that Rocco was going to be Rocco the Hawkeye. Yeah, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen. So
it's not. Hey, Coach. Thank you so much, man, for taking some time out. I know these two, one here, the other one over there, just took over this whole interview. We tried to get you 15, but they's like, no.
I'll give you one Battlehawks question if you want to bring that to the table. So
all right, we'll do that.
That's the obvious question, right?
Can you tell us why players should choose playing in the UFL over signing for practice squads ahead of time?
Yeah, so those futures contracts I think are good for certain level or certain period of time for a player. If you're a young guy coming out, first year in a practice squad, you're still kind of setting your career. You give it another year, yeah, sign the futures contract. I think that you got an opportunity there. Second or third year, and you haven't been on the active list in any of that period of time, you better start thinking about your career and betting on yourself a little bit. And, we had several guys last year, Lucas Dennis, Nate Metters, these guys passed up futures contracts and they bet on themselves and they got more opportunities because of the way they played. And, of course, Lucas Dennis obviously was on the practice squad and signed his futures contract, which I think makes sense for him because he proved what he can do, and now he's been there. Nate Metters, again, signed a training camp contract, then he got cut, and then he got signed on the practice squad. So he's looking at, okay, Steelers versus us. And we tell him, listen, 2 games with the Steelers, I don't know if they can get enough out of you to really, like say that's your spot. I mean, but playing for Mike Tomlin and that opportunity is also hard to pass up. So, we tell Nate, come back, man. I mean, you're a good player. You're one of the best in the league. You're definitely going to get inquiries after your year is done. So again, that's how I kind of look at it. There's a lot of agents out there that, oh, you got to go. And it's different for everybody. But for the most part, if you haven't been on the field in, over a year and a half, like a real game, you're not the same player you were. And you haven't really been developed the way you should because you're either just lifting with the team, you're doing practice card stuff. You're not getting to do the offense that you're actually there with the other players who are actually doing it. So I would say that, for me, me and Dave Bowler, the GM, we push hard to convince agents and their players, and like we're doing now, this is the time to try to get those guys to come our way, prove themselves, show themselves to more teams, and if they do their part, like AJ did last year, and some of these other guys, they're going to get those calls that they deserve.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for coming in and
one
chiming
more
in with us
Battle
with
Hogs
this.
question.
Last one, you got it. Last one.
You got it, dude.
Ed,
Oh, God, I got to ask it because, Coach, I'm getting inundated with that on the comment line. Everyone
Yes, sir.
wants to know, is AJ coming back to the Battlehawks?
Yeah, so just really, really proud of what AJ did. One to trust me and to come play for us last year, and he really reaped the benefits of that for him personally. I think really brought the excitement back to his life and the things that he had not been able to do in the NFL over that last 7-8 year string, and to get that opportunity in the league. So like AJ played all spring, he played all season in the NFL, became a backup with Joe Burrow going down. He's been away from his family quite a bit, so he's got to make some decisions. We're giving him some time to kind of sit back, relax, and enjoy some of the off season a little bit, hang with his kids. I mean, we're not pressuring anybody. We also do love our quarterback room. Manny Wilkins and Nick Tiano. These are guys that maybe people don't think can get the job done, but in-house guys, quite frankly, we believe we can win a championship with all those guys. So we want them all back. Number one, that's our goal, but you never know how things will shake out. We will have the quarterback that'll be on the field week 1. Fans will embrace it and they'll like it, and they'll be good. So we'll get that all done and announced here soon. And again, I don't want to give anything definitively on who's playing, who's coming back, but the goal is to keep all 3 quarterbacks and return them again to keep that quarterback room and that continuity.
Thank you. That's all. You know what? And I hope that shuts everybody up for the rest of the night. Don't ask no more questions about that man. I'm sick of it. I got sick of it now,
I
man.
appreciate you guys, having me on and obviously
Thank you.
getting the word out. We obviously need as much support as we can, and obviously the fan base and stuff is important for me and really the growth of this league. So we appreciate it, man.
Thanks a
so
lot,
much,
Coach. We appreciate you coming on.
All right, guys. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, Coach Anthony Becht from the UFL St. Louis Battlehawks. What are you doing here?
I'm telling you, if he
What
would,
are you doing here?
if he would.
See, see, you knew trouble was coming too, right? You knew trouble was coming the minute that he came on.
When he said, "I'll take one Battlehawks question," and
We
then
did it.
A-Train said what he did, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, when all these guys littered the comment line, I was gonna say, "Call A-Train, man. Let him answer that question."
Hey, and I'm so grateful that he came on and he gave us 34 minutes because he was only supposed to be on half.
Yeah,
But I got two people, this one and then the one over there. They could not help themselves and couldn't keep their mouths shut. That's all right.
he said that he was more than willing to stay longer. That's the only reason why we continued to question him.
Okay, but guess what it's time for? It's time for them playoff picks. And I need a couple of those guys right now to
Well,
start
wait a minute.
things.
Wait. I'm going to set the stage first, okay? For
Set it
those
up,
of you
sir.
that for those of you that don't know, the four of us made picks last week on the wild card round games, and we are going to unveil how those picks went. And what we're going to do is we're going to position ourselves on this screen according to how well we did. So I will announce the first name, and I will tell you what their record was. But before I tell you what their record was last week, we'll do an intro from A-Train to let you give you an idea what level of the screen they're going to be on.
Oh,
Okay,
you
let's
ready?
start. Let's start with Easy E. How did he do last week?
Yeah, he's down at the bottom.
We don't have the sound effect?
Oh, you was looking for that too?
Well, yeah. That's the first one.
Yep.
He's on.
Dang, you did that bad, sir?
Oh, yeah. Eric, he went an abysmal 2-4.
Oh,
Next, we have A-Train.
oh, I'm at the top, sir. I'm already there. As a
A-Train
matter of
is
fact,
at the
you see the
top.
order right
Wait
now.
a minute. He took all the suspense away. So A-Train
I was
and
42.
my man Brett the Hitman here both finished the week at 4-2.
So how did you do, Big Daddy Ed?
And me and this guy over here, let's just tell you all right now, I am not quitting my day job.
You might need to, sir. After what you dealt with, man.
Oh my God! So much for going with favorites. Holy cow!
I should have went with Buffalo. I know I was dumb for going picking Buffalo. Not picking Buffalo against the Steelers, but I wanted to see Mike Tomlin win. But that was already going to be a no. So
So I'm a man of my word, and when I stink it
I'm
up,
not
I
that
stink it
kind
up.
of God.
So here's what I got to say about Eric and I, since I'm the singer of the group. Because 2 out of 6 ain't bad. God, my God, that was.
Hey, I would tell you now that after what we just witnessed and seeing all of this stuff with the NFL playoffs, of course, the UFL is ramping up, and I'm telling you, I'm getting more and more excited as the weeks get closer to March 30th. Like I know somebody jumped on my tweets last night about when all I said was RIP to the XFL kickoff. And I mean, I got a rampant tweets right after that. Are you serious? I'm like, have you not been paying attention to what's been said out there? Like, anybody? So
God.
come on, man. The XFL kickoff is gone. We can't be mad at it because you saw the success what the USFL was able to do with it, right? So that right there just let everybody know that that's what the UFL, and you have to go this for this, that for that. Okay, you got to take some of the good and take some of the bad. Now we know some of the gameplay, we don't know all of it yet, but what we do know is the XFL kickoff is pretty much gone, and I think everybody's just ready for the schedule at this point.
Come on.
Speak, somebody,
Come on.
somebody speak.
Eric went quiet. You're
Yeah.
not. Are you muted?
Can't even hear you, dude.
Can't even hear him.
Turn your mic off.
Golly. You know what, A-Train? We try so hard to run a quality show here. And we got some guy speaking into the golden microphone and you can't hear a word he's saying. God, Brett, help us out here, man.
What are you thinking, man? What do you think about the whole thing with the kickoff and because we wait on the
Oh,
schedule too? So.
I pulled for both leagues, and in my opinion, the USFL kickoff was far superior. I just I felt like the XFL kickoff was just too gimmicky, looked like an onside kick, didn't have nearly as long returns on average. I just wish all the biased XFL fans would give it a shot because it's very exciting. I mean, very few touchbacks. I think it's a 92% return rate. You're kicking it from the 20, so you have you have some really long, exciting run backs. Uh, and I'm fine with the XFL, extra point system. I prefer the kicking extra point and then going for two or three, but I'm fine either way. I mean, I really did prefer the USFL kickoff. I was going to say before I got muted, as usual, I was going to ask Coach Becht or let him know that I was driving by Protective Stadium in downtown Birmingham, and I was curious to see if maybe he was going to visit Protective Stadium here in the next couple months. But we will soon see soon enough, I guess.
Here's the thing, and the XFL. I mention that the XFL kickoff was an innovative thing by Sam Schwartzstein. Okay, I understand a lot of people did not like it because of what it looked like, whether you look at it as gimmicky or not. But it was from a safety standpoint, and the thing was it had kickers strategize when they had kicked off. You had to make sure it stayed in bounds, which makes it strategic. And again, that's innovative, but I just think a lot of people these days don't like change. And so because change is not receptive, that it just seems like the better thing to do is just go ahead and say, hey, the USFL kickoff is what works. And that's kind of like what the NFL is doing. And so here we are. For a guy that's sitting here saying that he ain't like the NFL, you surely like what the USFL did with them kickoffs
Well,
and what the NFL kept.
well,
Well,
AJ,
and I love the XFL fans that always bring up the safety thing, and there's no data to back that up either.
I didn't see
but
many
AJ,
injuries during that period. Go ahead,
can you?
Eric.
Well, my thought. I read the tweet thread there that you had, and the one thing that bothered me the most about it was I think one of the tweets said, well, it keeps it more in line with the NFL. I don't really think that's what we want to do, though. I don't think that's really what we have to do. I mean, I'm okay with that. I like the XFL, but the USFL stuff probably just it's probably fine too if it does have the 92% return rate. But what I'm saying is, for those people to just say, well, it brings us more in line with the NFL, I don't really care about that. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, Brock? What do you mean I killed you? He said I killed him. The interview and quit. No, I didn't do anything. I'm here. So I multitask, okay? If you caught earlier, the first hour is I had Brianna Aldridge from Buffalo. She did an awesome job with the show today and got a chance to learn about the Bills and the Chiefs, Cool. We was cool with that. And then of course I'm back here again for the second hour. I work. I do this.
Or third or fourth hour, whatever.
I do
Third or fourth
this.
hour.
I do this. I got more tomorrow. I'm letting y'all know up front. I got more tomorrow. So stay tuned. But yeah, but okay. I know this for this, that for that, because you're going to have a compromise when it comes to the rules of the UFL. Some things are going to be taken out and some things are going to be left back in. Now, like what Brett said, if the 2 and 3 point conversions remain, cool. If the extra point from the USFL remains, cool. Actually, I just want a great game, and I know that's what I think everybody can agree on in this panel is making sure that the game is utilized correctly. And that's something that we can all enjoy and watch on a weekly basis during the UFL season. I mean, yeah, it did provide some returns. I know one of them we saw with the whole thing with the Brahmas and the Vipers, when the one guy from the Brahmas took it back to the house. But I know a lot of people trashed it because it was on the Viper field in Cashman Stadium. So it was hard. It was hard to see that. The optics weren't the best. And so with this league now, I know we talk about the subtracting of the 8 teams, but here's a league where The USFL doesn't have to worry about having venues at this moment, and the XFL doesn't have to worry about venues at this moment. We'll all have some place where we can watch a game and we can put 20,000 and fans and more in each of these stadiums. And I think we all can agree to that.
Right. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So no question about it, man. I know something is shaking in your mind right now. I
Yeah,
know we had.
thinking,
I
and
know
he's
he's
got
thinking
all
about
sorts.
something.
Yeah,
It was like, what
he
is he
starts
thinking
going
about at
like
this rate?
this, and there's something in his mind going right now. The squirrel is spinning. The squirrel is spinning.
What's spinning in your mind, sir? You got
Well,
a rant?
I just can't wait until this season gets going because I'm just dying to know how good the USFL really is and how the two leagues compare. And so again, I'm leaning on Brett, the hitman up here. What's the pulse of the USFL, dude? I mean, what is it? What's it looking like? What do you? I mean, you was involved enough in the XFL. Do you think there's a one division that's going to have an advantage over the others?
No, no, they're very, very, very comparable, and that gets back to that silly wrestling WWE versus whatever it
AEW,
was
yeah,
back in the day. It was
WCW.
very, very comparable play, and I watched every game from every league, and it's going to be very, very comparable. And I don't know if it's going to be really fair to if the USFL has a little bit more success than XFL or vice versa. I don't know if you'd really be able to say I told you so about last year because the rosters, have changed so much. And quarterback play is going to be a, big thing. How many quarterbacks are going to be the same as last year? So I know they're still wanting to keep that fire burning, the competitive USFL versus XFL. But, I never really bought into that anyways. I just like good quality football. And I think I will say this right now, going to the draft and where the rosters are from the drafts. I feel like four teams are a good bit ahead of the other four, definitely on paper, but we will see soon enough.
So, okay, I'm gonna bite. Who's the four? I mean, you can't just say there's four teams and then we
Right.
go
You can't kick
next.
it out like that. You got to
I
go.
mean, come on,
Well,
keep
I,
going.
I think there's two from the XFL side, and I think there's two from the USFL side. I think St. Louis had a fantastic draft. I think DC is going to be good, and they've had some good draft, and some really good pickups. And then you've got Birmingham, which of course is loaded, and Memphis. Memphis, in my eyes, them and St. Louis definitely had the two best drafts, hands down. They really, really loaded the wagons with their draft. And I feel like those four teams are on paper right now definitely ahead of the other four. But once again, we shall see.
Yeah, and you know what? When you mention that, I think of the DC Defenders, and I know they are down two quarterbacks. At least that's what it's seen on paper. And they went out and got a guy like Jalen McClendon. Now, if he's working with a guy like Fred Costa, if he remains with the DC Defenders, you're looking at a quarterback that has looking at a quarterback style of play that's more geared like toward the HBCUs, like more of a running attack. Jalen can actually do some running, but he's more of a passer. And it'll be interesting to
Right.
see how well they were able to incorporate both aspects, his game and Fred Costa's game, and mash it together to make a legit starting quarterback, because we don't know what Jordan Teamu's future is yet. We find out De'Aaron King's future right now is he's gone. I think he's over at SMU. So it's unsure what they're going to bring to the table as we're in free agency right now. So as I
Right.
ask you at this moment, what free agent that you kind of know right now would be suitable for a certain team? I know right now, Jeff Badet has been a guy. I think DC would be perfect for a guy like Jeff Badet, or even going back to the Renegades in Arlington with Bob Stoops, because he's an Oklahoma guy. Those two teams would be perfect. Now, anybody can go anywhere. So that means XFL guys can go over to the USFL and vice versa. So that's my choice.
I could
Brett,
definitely
you go.
see Stoops picking up Badet again.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't
Absolutely.
believe he hasn't been picked up already. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes. It just has to be. Don't you think?
Mate, I don't know. I'm really uncertain with that. Big Daddy Ed, what you think?
Oh, I kind of had the same conspiracy theory myself, but
Because that's your guy. Jeff Badet's
well,
your
I
guy.
mean, I the proof was in the pudding. You put the numbers up, so it wasn't like when you looked at the XFL numbers, Jeff Badet was a top 6 wide receiver in the XFL. So, I was baffled. And then, I talked to Brett a couple different times about Jeff Badet, and he told me that the biggest knock he saw on Jeff Badet was his hands. And
Mm.
so I mean, that's the first I had heard of that, but Brett said
And
that
he's been on the show multiple times, and I like him, so I definitely wasn't going to put that out there. But thank you, Ed.
yeah.
But hey, a question comes up from Andrew. He said, "Do you guys want 1 foot or 2 foot for a sideline catch?" I mean, if you're going to remain closer to the NFL, it's going to be 2 feet. That's going to
Yeah, I
be
think
the.
you
I
got to
think
stick.
that'll be the rule at this case.
But
Yeah,
but
you got to
see,
stick.
I prefer the 1 foot, but I get it.
Yeah, and I know
I think
it's
one
more
foot gives you a chance at more points on the board, and that's what fans today want. I mean, I'm a big defensive guy. If it's a good, hard, physical game, I'm 10-7 all day long. I'm good with that. But most modern day fans want to see 35, 28, something like that. So
per game. Yeah.
I suspect they'll go with 2 feet, but I would prefer one.
Okay.
The only thing I want to say real quick about Jeff Badet before we go on is that, Jeff, if you're listening out there, the Viking jersey from Amanda and myself will be coming. I know it's been a while, but they are on order, and as soon as we get those bad boys, they're en route to you. So they can be a permanent addition to my backdrop back here.
Let me answer your brother's question. Did you drop off YouTube? No, it's there. It's just I'm not live anymore. It's the show is there. You can check it out now. You check out the Pro Football Alliance conversation, currently on YouTube on the Pro Football Alliance YouTube channel. All right. I don't see this Battlehawk. I don't either. I don't see the Battlehawk
No.
signing Badet because the wide receiver room is already pretty much stacked. You know,
Yep.
we didn't even mention Marcel Aitman if he even returns. You know what I mean? And that just gives more options. And I mean, that's going to give a good headache if he does return. But I think I think there's a futures deal for him, Marcel Aitman. But if he does return, that's going to give a good headache uh, for Anthony Becht. You
And,
know,
and, if,
because
and, if, and if you remember, too, Aitman was hurt for a lot of the season last year. And when he finally come back healthy, those final couple of weeks, he was making some noise.
exactly.
That was one of AJ's favorite targets there those last couple games of the year. So, I don't know where things stand with him, but he's another name that I haven't seen land on any team yet.
And
But I
the
just,
other name, go ahead.
well, I just don't, when Brett talked about his top 4 teams, kind of separating themselves, at least on paper, that's why I can't understand why a Jeff Badet is still out there, with some of these teams that maybe kind of look at it and say, maybe on paper, we're not quite there yet. How is he not somewhere?
Yeah, I
Without
mean
something in the water. Like
it does make it doesn't make any sense.
Memphis, I think Memphis would be good for Jeff too. You know, we'll get if you're in St. Louis, you get an opportunity to see him play 4 hours away. You know what I mean? So that would be cool to have him in that room um, as well. But
Memphis loaded up that wide receiver room
they
too, though.
did, they did,
He
Yes.
brought over a
they
lot of
did,
guys from the Breakers.
they did. Um, did Wes Hill's name get mentioned? Wes Hill's name did get mentioned during the dispersal draft, right? I think so. I'm gonna check real
Wait,
quick as I'm
somebody
talking.
took West Hills, did they not?
That's what I think. That's what I thought.
I think
Michigan
so.
did. Michigan got him.
Yeah, I
The
think you're
Panthers,
right.
yeah.
Sure
Panthers
did.
got him.
Sure did.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are guy Brandon Silvers is a guy that hasn't been selected by anybody, and like for half of that season, he was looking like he was going to be a Player of the Year candidate, and seeing what we have seen. You checked out the X Fans show back on Monday. We had some photos about what the pay scales looking like. They're actually giving away an MVP award, along with a Player of the Year. So they kind of stand on the same similar lines as what the USFL did for awards. And so that's going to be interesting to see, who's going to pick up that extra $7,500 in their pocket, you know.
Well, I'm big on those win bonuses. I think that's fantastic marketing for the league and great for the players. And I hope it's not true that they're getting rid of those win bonuses. But do we know that for a fact? Or
I think they are bringing in the win bonuses. I think
thank
so.
goodness.
I'm gonna have to check real quick, because that was something that I think everybody enjoyed. Hold on, let me see. We're gonna check it here. Is it there? No. Is it there? There's the camp
I
salaries.
couldn't find it anywhere, and I asked James Larson and a couple of other guys and never got a response.
There's a accolade bonus. I don't know if it's a team bonus, but there's an accolade bonus that they have. So like somebody getting Player of the Week gets $1,000. The All UFL team at the end of the season, and
If
you
they
see
did
the
drop the
amount paid.
win bonuses though for the teams, I think that's something they really need to look hard at for year two.
But guess what? That all pertains to us. That we are the people that are going to have to make this work so that way that the players will say, "Hey, we have some place that we can, be a part." That's why you be
Right.
a part of that. That's why you be part of Fan United Experience Legion. So that way, um, we can experience it with other fans, and then we can also experience it with the players because this is supposed to be seriously the UFL is supposed to be our league. If I'm not if I'm gonna be funny about it, it's the U fan league. It's
Yep.
supposed to be
Right.
about you, and so if you play along with that, I think that this league can actually sustain. Like it can sustain a long time, and it doesn't have to be a direct competitor to the NFL. I can see the UFL going 16 weeks and the season going longer into May and potentially June if they start in February. That can
Right.
actually work. But
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's all a part. It's all about us, about watching it. It's also about merchandise. It's all about the tickets going to the games and stuff. That's what's going to make the UFL work, and that's what's going to have the eyeballs from up above the executive saying, "Hey, we really got something good here." They saying it now, but it's gonna depend on us.
Oh, I
Hey,
think by the
Arlington, I
time
got some. Go ahead.
let's say by the time we still looking at what 2.5 months before the season starts. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the interest that we're drumming up already, by the time this league gets started, the end of March, I think it's going to be fever pitch, baby.
Yeah.
I just think the level of football will be obvious that
Yeah.
it's been an upgrade over last year, and I think it's gonna reel some people in. And I really think the league, whether it takes a second year or whether it takes a third year, eventually I think this league is going to take off and there's going to be brighter days ahead.
What were
Yeah.
you saying, Brett?
I shared this with Ed the other day in a conversation. My group that I started back in 2019. Uh, we're getting right now, and it's a very good sign for interest. Very good. Right now, in the last 2 weeks, we're averaging between 100 and 190 requests, member requests per day. 70 days before kickoff. And that is actually more, believe it or not, Arlington, that is more than what it was for XFL 2020, 70 days before kickoff.
That's excellent. At this rate, where I think he just broke up and he froze, so we're gonna get him down and hopefully get him back. But that's cool. That's getting everybody garnered up for interest in the league and stuff. And I had a point and then it just went away. Um,
Wait till you're 59.
Stop it. When did former B-Hawk Brian Hill end up? I don't even know if he's even returning. Um,
He's
that'll
not
be
on the
interesting.
protected roster.
There he is. Let's get him back in. All right, we got him back up. Up, he just froze up again. There he is. I think he's back again. We got you now,
Sorry.
sir. That's okay. It's okay. We got you. We got you covered. We're going a little bit of overtime with the show. Um, I see this whole thing with the UFL, and I see the growth that could come within it, and having our own players, having our own teams. I know owners is going to be big, if they were able to bring them into the game and stuff. That's going to be huge.
Huge
Um,
game changer. Game
it's a
changer.
it's a true game changer. Even if former players, if NFL players said that they want to get involved in ownership and stuff with the teams, I think that'll be huge. Because then it lets everybody know that here's a league where you can actually get behind, and believe it or not, now I remember my thought. The last 2 3 years have had that spring football has whet our appetites. That's what I want to say. That spring football has whet our appetites, and that the UFL coming in March 30th, 2024, is something we all geared and look forward to. And I know Brett had just mentioned it, is that as we get closer, the interest is going to get higher and higher,
Yeah.
just like it did in 2020, just like it did, believe it or not, in 2023, even in 2022, because we were trying to figure out what the USFL was going to look like when it got here. The same can go
Yep.
for 2019 with the Alliance of American Football. When Charlie jumped the gun in front of Vince, due to some petty stuff and due to him not giving him the XFL, you were dying to see what that was going to look like in the AAF. Can he see your comments? He said, "What's up with the Horsemen recruiting and being the only official recognized fan base?" I think that's for you, Brett.
I'm probably gonna leave that alone. I started the original Birmingham Stallions fan group. The league reached out to us, and we had a
Hmm.
few meetings, and they're wanting to basically establish one of those booster clubs at uh, at each city. Of course, it was tough with the USFL because even in season 2, we were only located in 3 cities. They are trying to, the USFL was trying to get that going. When they reached out to me and I went to the meetings, I told them I could not, unfortunately, assist them with that because I actually live in Tuscaloosa and work in Tuscaloosa and took on a new job, and I would not have the free time to be able to run the thing. So I'm not even a member of the Horsemen.
Okay,
But I know all the guys that runs it. And they're actually admins for us in the Birmingham Stallions Facebook group I run.
excellent. Okay, so but there's some clarification when it comes to that. All right, we about to get out of here. I think we got it in an hour. Grateful to have everybody come on board. And grateful for all of the audience to check in, and of course, Coach Anthony Becht. See, he's no longer professional head coach. He's no longer Rocco Becht's dad. He's UFL St. Louis Battlehawks head coach Anthony Becht. All right,
We
so
haven't done our picks yet.
we do
Oh, we
have
got to do our picks.
let's do our picks. All right, so Brett, you go first because you won. Me and you tied last week, so I'm gonna let you go first. And
First game, Houston at Baltimore.
The Ravens. Keep it short. Ravens, but in a close one.
ooh, okay. Uh, Packers 49ers.
Whoa.
Well, wait a minute.
You want all
Who
of
are
them?
you? Who are you
Oh, we
taking?
all going.
Well,
As
yeah.
much, me, okay. Who as much as I want to take the Houston Texans, I got to go with the Ravens. I think this is Lamar's time. If Lamar will be crazy, I know it's, and again, I feel like Brett. It's gonna be a close one. It's gonna be a close one. So I'm going with the Ravens. But I hope for the
Ravens.
Texans.
Ravens.
Oh God.
You going
All
Houston?
I no, all I keep seeing is Lamar Jackson's playoff record sitting at 1-3.
1-3.
Ugh, God, I mean, I need so bad to redeem myself here, but
You're correct.
but God, CJ his first playoff game. God, the Sphinxter might be a little tight. I'm gonna go Baltimore. I'll go
So
Baltimore.
everybody says Baltimore. All right. So
All
Packers
right,
for
so
you,
now we got Green Bay traveling to San Francisco.
Brett.
Coming from a Chicago Bears fan, it is what it is. I don't want to hear it. Green Bay is hot. They're healthy. Upset. Green Bay. They're headed to the NFC Championship game. You heard it here first.
We
And
did have,
no, I don't. And no, I don't love it.
we did have a fan comment. Kyle Hammerschmidt said Houston Texans. So there is at least one person that picked the Texans. So we'll remember that name next week. We'll see how he does. Okay, so what do you got, A-Train?
The Niners. I'm right there with Easy E because I'm gonna go with the Iowa State guy. So I got
Yeah.
I
Brock
got
Purdy,
49ers
baby, and the Niners. Give me the Niners.
Yeah. It's 49ers all the way. It will be a cold, cold day in hell. Did you ever hear Packers come off my
Yeah.
lips
You
and
just said
and a win in the same breath?
it.
Packers could
So
be favored by 14,
Golly.
and I'd never pick them.
You said they
I'm
would what?
still holding out hope that there's going to be a conspiracy that the NFL will suspend the Packers and put a different team in their place. But
Hey,
until
I'm
then,
good with that. I'm good with that. That avoid the pick. I'm good with that.
You NFC North fans are hilarious right now, man. Like, goodness gracious.
Man, we all hate the Packers, man. There's just something about them.
Yeah,
Some
but Brady,
I'm
chose
wishing-
Packers. You chose Packers. Yuck.
my nickname is called
And Brett's also 4-2.
Hey, but listen,
Jordan Bad Luck. Jordan Bad Luck is my name for Jordan.
I would
golly.
go 0 for 4 without picking the Packers. I'll take 0 for 4. I'm not saying
I think Brett is choosing the Packers because of Alex Magoo. That's it. That's the only reason why he's choosing them.
Man, I've watched him play quite a bit lately, and I said 2 weeks before the playoffs started, I said that is a team that is going to give everybody a lot of problems moving forward.
They do look like it too. As much as I hate to even say it too, they do
Yep.
look like a problem. Like I'm talking about, they dismantled the Cowboys. Let's disregard the last two scores of the
Man,
Cowboys. Complete
they big boys.
dismantle. Complete dismantle. That's how
There
they
is bitch slap, and then there's a bitch slap doesn't even get it.
Like,
mean,
I
it
got-
was a bitch slap beat down. What else you want to see?
listen. I
Hemp
seriously
slap curb stomp.
I seriously got pissed off with Matt LaFleur taking out the players with like 8 minutes to go. I'm like, sir, keep your freaking foot on their necks because every time, the minute he took them out, they scored twice in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
No, he did. Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Keep your foot on the freaking necks. And I'm telling you, that 16 points would have remained, and you'd have think Dak Prescott was a laughing stock this go around. Getting beat that bad at home
And
would have been
what's
totally
funny
different.
is Jerry Jones is rolling it back with Mike McCarthy, man, and Dak. We've got the necessary tools, baby. We just got to play better. I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. This is going to be great next year.
More venom. Just give us more
Okay.
venom, baby.
We
What's
got the
next?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading into Detroit. What do you got, Brett?
We are going to have an NFC North NFC Championship. Detroit. God bless them and their fans. They deserve it. Although they're in the NFC North, I can't even hate them because the Bears have tinkered with them my whole life. Detroit by a tutty.
Okay. Hey, Trey.
Dang. I feel the same way, but here's the thing. I gotta roll with Todd Bowles, man, and the Bucks in an upset in the dome because these two teams pretty much match up. I know people don't believe they do,
Yeah.
but they do. They match up very well Baker and Jared Goff. I know Jared has been the guy that has been to the Super Bowl and he's been in this situation before. And Baker, this is a coming out party for him. This is an FU to every freaking team that said, or every coordinator that
I do
said he
root
shouldn't
for
be.
Baker. I do pull for Baker. I can't help it. I mean,
I'm going for the Bucks in this one. I got the Bucks in an upset.
Eric?
Miss-
Well, I went back and forth this game because I can't remember the name of the D-back. He said he made a comment about Baker Mayfield and the receiver Gage, and Baker actually went on TV and he had a really good response to it. He's like, "Well, Gage hasn't played for us this season. He, whatever," and he just kind of blew it off. But I'm like, that's what Baker Mayfield feeds off of, man. And if there's one area that you can get to Detroit, that's that secondary, man. I think,
yeah.
You're right, A-Train. This game is a heck of a lot closer than I think, people are giving it credit for. So I went back and forth. I'm like, it's going to be the Bucks. It's going to be, their defense is playing really well. I'm going to go with, you know what? Give me the Bucks. I'll take the Bucks.
Okay, so here's the deal. Howard, oh God. Baker Mayfield is going into this game hurt. He's got a bad wheel. He's got bad ribs. If I'm Coach Campbell, I go up to Hutchinson and I get in his ear
Hutchinson.
hole. I get in his ear hole and I say, the first time Baker drops back to pass, I don't care if it's 15 seconds after the play's over. You lay this guy out and take the 15-yard penalty like you've never taken a roughing penalty before in your
Yeah.
life.
And land on him with all your weight.
You knock
Y'all
Baker
are terrible.
Mayfield out, and it ain't going to take that much.
Y'all are
Ain't going to take that much.
Y'all are horrible. Both
And
Hey,
of
you
the
y'all.
gotta remember,
Lions,
me and Ed's old school.
and the
Me and Ed's old school.
And the
Y'all-
Lions would cakewalk into the NFC Championship. So I am going to take
Y'all are horrible.
that conversation between Coach Campbell and Hutchinson is a reality that they would never admit to. And
Y'all
you
are
bet
horrible.
your ass if that flag comes out in the first quarter for roughing the passer,
Y'all are horrible.
just
man.
remember what this dude said right here. Okay?
Y'all
Give me the
are-
Lions.
Oh my gosh. Y'all are horrible.
That's awful. That is awful.
That's just so awful, man.
I'm with you.
Dude.
Awful, but that brings back the 70s, dude. The old Raiders teams and stuff, the Raiders wouldn't even have thought twice. They would have done it in pregame warm-up. They wouldn't even wait for the game. They would have just crossed in midfield, and they would have just took him out while he was practicing to warm up before the game started.
Amanda, he
A-Train,
did. If you listen to it, he answered the question.
I answered the damn question.
I don't
Take
condone this.
the Lions.
I don't condone this. I don't condone that. Nope. The disclaimer, folks. The following statements that have been
May
do
not
reflect
necessarily
Coca-Cola
represent Wild
Lions.
Sun Winery and their great, extensive selection of red and white wines and all the beer that they just got brewed, the Beehawk Live beer that is going to be available for sale at all the tailgates. Don't let anything that Big Daddy Ed just said cloud your judgment of Wild Sun Winery. My opinions are my opinions. I stand behind them, and you heard it here first. Okay, last game of the week, the one that everybody wants to hear.
Everybody gonna say the same, man.
Kansas City goes into Buffalo. Kansas City with the chance to one last time rise like a phoenix and stick it to Buffalo when everybody thinks this is the year that Buffalo finally gets by the Chiefs. Is it going to happen, Brett? You go first.
I get that feeling Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I
got a better voice than you do, Brett.
I hear you, sir.
That's
I
not
hear you,
saying
coach.
much.
But I hear you, sir. I heard that. I heard that loud and clear. Okay. Right. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
F them Swifties. I'm going with Buffalo. Bills Mafia all day. Forget them Swifties. Hey, man, shout out. Shout out to I got some friends that got a chance to meet Taylor Swift and stuff, man. Cool, whatever, man. But hey, she coming to Buffalo. She said you better have thick skin because they coming for you, dude. They are coming for her. I'm telling you. So
They
she
gonna
better be
jump off a table on top of her, huh?
she better have full blown protection the minute that she shows up to Highmark Stadium in Buffalo. Because it's gonna be hell in a handbasket when she get there. So Buffalo over Kansas City. Just
Before
like
we
that.
hear Eric's answer to this, oh my God, I gotta keep my head up. It's getting ooh.
Dude,
Woo!
That's why I cut mine today.
What is the weather supposed to be in Buffalo for game day? Does anybody
um,
know?
it's supposed to be similar to what happened um, Monday, except they'll be able to sit in their seats normally. It's supposed to snow Friday. It's supposed to snow Friday. They had the worst of it yesterday, so it's supposed to just a little bit more. But after that, it should be ready by Sunday.
Sunday for Buffalo will be a balmy high of 27 degrees. But there is snow Thursday, snow Friday, snow Saturday. There's
We
the
doing it
rundown.
again.
That's the rundown for the weather.
Buffalo, baby. Yeah. So you saying Buffalo too, then, right?
Here's another game.
Oh my God! Don't do this.
That I went back and forth on.
Don't do this.
We have the history. We have the history of, to be the man, you got to beat
You gotta
the man.
beat the man. That's true.
And Joe Burrow beat the man, which makes him the man. Josh Allen has always given it up, thrown the pick.
No.
Listen.
No.
There's
They cheated.
something. It's always something. So all week I've been
They
like, man,
cheated, and you know it. Come on.
I got to make this pick. It's got to be Kansas City. It's got to be Buffalo. My heart says Buffalo. I want Buffalo to win. I want Josh Allen to get that monkey off his back. My head says, don't doubt Mahomes.
Do not bet against Mahomes. I'm betting against him. Okay.
Bet against him. So, this is kind of a coin flip to me. But God, if I get stomped by A Train again, you know what? Give me Buffalo. Give me Buffalo.
Oh God, you guys! I tell you what. 2 weeks ago, everybody was, Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen. Good Morning Football. The day after, Buffalo won their regular season finale. The next day, Good Morning Football comes on and they say, Buffalo hitting on all cylinders at the right time. They're a second seed. Look out for Buffalo. What did Josh Allen do that game? Threw 2 picks in the end zone after the team had drove all the way down the field. 2 picks in the end zone. Before halftime, he throws a ball over the middle with no timeouts, gets tackled short of the goal line, gets nothing out of it. Second half, throws another pick, runs the ball, fumbles it away. But yet they're hitting on all cylinders. Let me tell you about old dogs. Last week, first off, when you saw Andy Reid last week, when they showed him on the sideline, when it was colder than a bejesus, and his walrus mustache is completely frozen over, and at some point that thing has got to melt. Are you not saying to yourself, Self, that is disgusting, right? Because all that stuff, no. Okay, so here we go. Just when you think Kansas City is done and they're down and out, that it's time to turn the gavel over to Buffalo and let them run away with it. I am telling you, the Kansas City defense is going to keep Kansas City in this game, and they are going to make Josh Allen make mistakes. And when he makes mistakes, there is nothing more demoralizing to an offense than driving the entire field, getting in the red zone, and then your quarterback throws a pick. Is that not the most demoralizing thing known to man?
And they
So
still
here's what's going to happen. Travis Kelce's had like 20 yards receiving combined for the last 6 weeks. Patrick Mahomes hasn't. I mean, they haven't done nothing. They've done nothing. They've done nothing.
Just make
But
a pick.
just when Chris Berman comes out and says the Buffalo's going to circle the wagons,
Oh my God.
I say no, not so fast, my friend. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to jump up. They are going to circle their wagons, and they are going to put a performance together for the ages that's going to once again lead Buffalo exiting the playoffs. And when they go to the post-game press conference, Josh Allen's going to walk up to the podium, and they're going to hear, da-da-da-da, wah. Give me Kansas City.
Okay. Finally.
Take it.
Jesus.
take a
Mercifully give him Kansas City.
And I
Mercifully.
tried to get to that as quick as I could, but sometimes you just
got
gotta
to
let it simmer. You gotta let it simmer.
Take a
We're
breath.
losing our hair here, sir.
Wow.
Why? We should
So
not.
one thing we gotta cover yet, okay? You guys were all ready to say we're done for tonight, but it's 8:22. We got 8 minutes. I got a guy over here that's
Good
been
grief.
studying all week because he wanted to put together his 5-minute NIL talk real quick this week.
These
So
are the
we're
picks.
gonna let you hit on it quick
Are
and
those
leave
your
it and leave them hanging
Hey,
so that we can start off with you next week.
does this have anything to do with the mass exodus from Alabama? I'm just throwing it out there. Go ahead.
Suddenly, Alabama can't have a second, third, and fourth team that just keeps shuffling to the starters each year. The backups are getting tired, and they're hitting the transfer portal, and all of a sudden, Alabama's not deep like they used to be.
This week for Alabama, it's been you get a 4-star, you get a 5-star.
You get a 4-star, and you get a 4-star.
There you go, baby. Bama believes in DeBoer. That's how you do that.
Okay, Brett,
You
go.
look.
Okay,
I
anyway,
can't even this week. I'm gonna need another week. I just can't. I just
You need
can't
an
because I just can't.
Okay, so let me say this.
I just can't.
This is the last week. I don't care. We're through the holidays. We're through the
Monday.
college football playoffs. We're through the football NFL playoffs. We are back to Mondays, Monday night, 8 o'clock, going forward from here on out. Go to bed. I never told her. I mean, come on. Just because you don't like cutting edge stuff.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
Now, why can I hear Dirty for real in the background while he's trying to do his thing? Like, I can hear Dirty.
You can't even hear the guy. You think if he was going to come on our show, you'd at least be able to hear the guy. When Kansas City rises from the ashes, when they rise from the ashes,
Oh my God!
Glory,
I'm gonna need a cigarette.
Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, that
We
was
could
enough.
we could get it.
Daddy Ed Grant. And he went on
and on
and on and on and on. Mama Jolene, come get your husband right now. He's done for the rest of the night. He needs to go to bed. Nobody even listening to you, dude. Get off this
No.
stage. Get off this stage. Nobody's listening. Mama Jolene, come get your husband
He,
right now. He need to go to bed.
he needs a
I'm gonna
nap.
need 2 cigarettes after that.
Good God.
Whoa.
That was a freaking mouthful.
You
I
you
need-
guys love it, and you know it.
I want
You,
an L after that. Good.
you guys love it, and you know it. I had everybody just waiting to hear what my pick was
No,
going to be.
they were ready to leave and go to bed.
Yeah.
That's what they were.
Yeah, I think half the audience left.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get hey,
They lost.
you're allowing dirty to ruin you. Stop it. You're letting dirty ruin you. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
My goodness.
Stay on, Brett.